Hi there. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet podcast for women who wonder. Frankly, as we go through life, I'm sure we wonder about a great deal. First as little kids, then as adolescents, then as young women, then as transitional women. What are we calling ourselves these days? And then you get to this point in life, or my point in life, when you're postmenopausal and wondering what's next. Wondering if the parade already passed you by. Join me, Wonder Wendy. I'm going to be your host as we talk about some of these unique challenges that face women today in a new millennium, going through menopause and trying to live a rich, full life. There might even be a few men and younger women that want to listen in too. That's okay. But there's a roller coaster and we're all on it. And I'm going to be your guide to help you figure out when you should close your eyes, when you should hang on, and maybe we'll explore some ideas for what works for you if it doesn't work for me, or vice versa. So join the conversation, pick up your favorite beverage, and we'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the Imperfect Prophet.
I don't know if you remember a couple weeks ago when I recorded an episode in Palm Springs. Well, I was there to see Paul McCartney in concert. Yes, that Paul McCartney of the Beatles, Wings, and solo music fame. The songs he's written over the last 6 decades are so much the soundtrack of my life. I've been a Beatles fan as long as I can remember. And seeing Sir Paul, that guy was even knighted by Queen Elizabeth II. Well, that was a privilege I'll never forget. Our hotel was just a couple miles from the venue, so the next morning in the breakfast room, it looked like a sea of Beatles, Wings, and McCartney's teas, mine included. As I was getting my coffee, a fellow guest smiled at me and said, "Wasn't he great?" Of course, the conversation rolled naturally from there. 2 women bound by music, memory, and the magic of a very special night. I'm guessing we were of a similar age, but as my friends of color often remind me, black don't crack. Anyway, she said something that inspired this episode. She told me that during the concert, she texted her friends to share the excitement of being there. And of course, they asked, "Who went with you?" And she replied, "My 3 favorite people, me, myself, and I." I immediately liked her. So much self-confidence, so much joy, so much freedom. Here was a woman who didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for someone else's schedule. She didn't wait for an invitation. She just went. She bought the ticket, planned the trip, and followed her joy. She didn't choose loneliness. She chose herself. And she reminded me of how powerful that can be. I'm Wonder Wendy, and welcome back to The Imperfect Prophet, a podcast for women who wonder. And this week, we're going to deconstruct the notion that being solo is a bad thing. If you show up alone, something must be wrong with you. What? Or missing from you. Let's move beyond that old-fashioned notion. That idea that we need an escort, a date, a companion, or someone to validate our presence, well, it is culturally ingrained. But here's the truth. Being solo can be a radical act of agency and self-worth. And because I love pointing to women who model that energy, let me bring in Tracee Ellis Ross. You know, Diana Ross's daughter and a star in her own right. Beyond the red carpets and comedy, she's been so open about the art and practice of enjoying her own company. In an interview with Parade, she put it perfectly. "I don't have to wait for someone. Have the courage to go toward what you want to do. It may be scary without a partner, but you can do it." She also suggests that starting small. Don't book a 2-week trip across the world right away. Ease in, dinner by yourself, a concert ticket, a local day trip. Build your, what she calls, solo muscle. Now, just last week, I wanted to see the latest Downton Abbey movie. The friend who saw the last film in that franchise with me moved away, and my schedule was tight. Finding someone to go with me was hard. there was a matinee that afternoon, and my husband sweetly offered to go so I wouldn't be alone. But he's never watched any of the Downton Abbey TV series or films. I knew he'd be lost, and I'd spend the whole time explaining. So I went alone. I had an entire row to myself, a large bowl of popcorn, and a Diet Pepsi. I laughed, I cried, I spent the afternoon with the Crowleys, and it felt great. Now, here's something I noticed in that empty row. Sometimes we don't need company. We need an audience with ourselves, a place to hear our own laugh echo, a place to feel our own tears fall without immediately managing someone else's. There's a holiness to that. We confuse companionship with witness. On solo dates, you become your own witness, and that is a gorgeous kind of intimacy. Now, I discovered the joy of eating alone while traveling on business in my 30s and 40s. I like having a server keep my water or coffee full while I'm dining. No overpriced room service or plastic takeout containers in the hotel room for this girl. Yes, you do learn how to navigate the dining room. From the moment the hostess gives you that look, "Oh, only one for dinner?" you smile and say, "Yes, thank you." I often brought a book so I didn't have to stare around the room while eating. Bite, read, breathe. If I received, unwanted attention, the book became a polite little barrier, a reason to keep my focus elsewhere. Another option is journaling, though it's tricky to write and eat at the same time. People watching becomes a sport when you're alone. You start imagining the stories behind the tables around you. Once you get comfortable, it's a delight. And if I wanted to have a conversation, it was early in the evening, I'd eat at the bar and chat with the bartender. Oh, pro tip, most bartenders protect their solo guests. Consider them your allies. And if you're worried about awkward interactions, keep a couple of microscripts ready. "Oh, I'm meeting someone shortly, just finishing a chapter. Thanks." "Oh, I'm enjoying some quiet tonight. Wish you a great evening." To a persistent stranger, no, thank you. Full stop. No justification. None's needed. Practicing these at home sounds a little funny, but it trains your mouth to back up your intuition. And once you've got those words down, it's so much easier. Make a little ritual of dining alone. I ask for a table with a view of the door or the street, and I start with water and a little something. Sometimes I set my phone to airplane mode just to be at peace. I take 3 intentional breaths and decide who I want to be for this. Am I the curious traveler? The quiet poet? The woman celebrating something no one else knows about yet? I know it sounds silly, but it turns dinner into a date with my own life. We play make-believe for other people. Why not do it for ourselves? Now, there is beauty in being your own best company. When you head out alone, you keep your own pace. If you want to walk 5 miles admiring architecture, there's no chorus of, "I'm tired" or "I'm bored." Honestly, very few people can walk a city the way I do. And you get to follow your own curiosity. Yes, I will sit in this park and watch the flowers dance in the breeze. Ooh, what's going on in that park? Let's go that way. And you get the delicious freedom of not compromising on food, schedule, or sleep. Even the best travel companions require adjustments. I adore traveling with my friend Stacy, but spicy food, that is off the table. And the real growth happens inside. You start to trust your instincts. Confidence sneaks up on you. Silence becomes a friend. Strangers sometimes do too. Years ago, I went to Paris alone for a week. Now, at that time, our house was full. Kids, a husband, baseball players we hosted in the summer. My days were about caring for everyone else. And with women especially, we forget to care for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'd bought a weekend of Paris Airbnb at a charity auction. It was supposed to be a mother-daughter trip. When my daughter couldn't get away, my husband suggested I go alone. I know. I was surprised by that too. But then I decided, why not? And it wasn't, I was on the plane. Well, I was on the plane when we touched down. I got to Charles de Gaulle Airport, making my way through the airport. And suddenly I had a moment of panic. What am I doing? My French is minimal, and I am here in France by myself. But I did it. I figured it out. I now have a rule for those scary moments. Give the first 5 minutes to panic if you must. Then give the next 5 to a plan. Ooh, panic says, I can't. The plan says, I'll try this one next right thing. In Paris, that meant memorize a few key phrases from the Berlitz language guide, or now you have a translator on your phone. Download or pick up a map. Oh, and learn this so important phrase. Bonjour, parlez-vous anglais? That means, hello, do you speak English? And smile with my whole face. When you're friendly and you make an attempt to communicate with just a few basic French words, they will often take pity on you and speak in English. Can't tell you that'll happen in every city, but it happened for me in Paris. You meet people differently when you're solo. More open, more curious, more alive. And maybe most importantly, you are fully present. No one else's mood or agenda to navigate. When I decided I wanted to go to the Opera Bastille, it was easy to snag a last-minute solo ticket. Oh, and here's a little solo game to inspire you, whether you're in your own neighborhood or someplace new. Take a curiosity walk. Pick one sense to lead the way for a mere 20 minutes. Follow a sound, the street musician, the fountain, the clink of glasses. See where it takes you. Or follow a color. All the blue doors, all the fuchsia flowers. It pulls you out of your head and into the living, breathing moment you're actually in. And reigniting your senses is fun and healthy. Now, let's be honest. It's not all Instagram sunsets and cappuccinos on cobblestone streets. One night, wandering back to my Paris Airbnb after a lovely dinner on the left bank, I realized the street was empty. I caught a flicker of movement in a doorway arch. My heart leapt. And then I saw a woman and her child bedding down for the night. She was probably as afraid of me as I was of her. I shifted and I walked down the center of the street to keep clear and have a field of vision of all the spaces where someone could be. Awareness isn't fear, it's wisdom. Now, there will be moments of loneliness, awkwardness, or uncertainty. And certainly safety is a very real concern, especially for women in unfamiliar spaces. And yes, there's still social stigma. People ask, who are you with? As if showing up alone needs justification. You're not weird. You're just whole, even without a companion. The other day, I attended a wedding, solo. I've been friends with the groom for several years, but my husband doesn't know him well and opted not to attend. The room is largely family with a strong cultural bond. I was very much an outsider and only knew a few people at the guests who were guests. I'm so glad that I was there to offer the cumulative blessing for the newlyweds. But boy, socially, it was a challenge. I realized I was very much an outsider, an observer, if you will. The hardest part was that I wasn't sure how I was supposed to behave. I suspect that likewise, many others didn't know what to make of a solo woman who has the confidence to appear in that space. Just by showing up, I was subversive and nudging attitudes. Back to travel. In this midlife chapter, there are so many reasons to take a solo trip. I have friends who are caretakers for spouses or parents. That is exhausting. Hire a nurse, ask a sibling to take a shift, or just get away. It doesn't have to be a big trip. It can be a small trip to find yourself again. Maybe a spa day or an overnight in a hotel with a giant bathtub can reset your soul. Now, maybe you're widowed, divorced, or never married. Stop waiting for the dream mate to take that dream trip. Do it now. Now, two of my friends who were both single, they planned big dream trips every other year so they'd have enough time to save up for it. And they did this for several years. They kept it up until one of them coupled up because life changes. And what wonderful experiences they collected when they weren't waiting for perfect. And remember, you become a role model for the women coming up behind you. Just last week, it hit me. We need to give women permission and tools to live their best life now. I did mention there were practical considerations, but empowerment and preparedness can absolutely coexist. Think of this as your friendly real-world checklist, the kind you can hear me saying in your ear when you zip your bag. Before you go, do a little homework. Peek at the neighborhoods, customs, and transportation. Book places with solid reviews on trusted sites. Share your itinerary, even if you just text me when you're back check-ins with someone you trust. And if you're headed abroad, you can actually register with the Smart Traveler Enrollment Program, STEP. And that way you're on the radar. In case of emergencies, you'll get a notification. And thank goodness for modern cell phone technology. It makes it so much easier. That solo trip to Paris was a few years ago, and I wasn't able to use my cell phone unless I was on Wi-Fi. Luckily, most cafes had free Wi-Fi. I was able to call friends using a messenger app. Last year, when I was in Paris with my daughter, we were able to use our cell phones almost all the time for text, cellular, calls, data, all for a nominal fee. It didn't feel much different from being home. And stay hydrated when you're traveling, but I tell you to stay hydrated all the time. I love the tech, downloaded maps, rideshare apps, translation tools, but remember the human tools as well. Make eye contact with staff. Learn a few names of the people who are serving you in that facility, and they'll keep an eye out for you. Learn one neighborhood cafe by name. Tip well and ask, what's your favorite safe route back to the hotel from here? Most people want to help you have a good night. Oh, out and about, aim to blend in. Borrow a page from people who do intelligence work overseas. Avoid t-shirts with bold graphics. Try not to look brazenly American. I know you'll see a lot of Europeans wearing Dodger caps, but try and avoid that sort of thing unless you really want to be branded that way. Remember last week's episode about picking the right costume for wherever you go? This is your appropriate costume. Oh, keep your essentials streamlined. How about a crossbody bag, zipped pockets, minimal flashy jewelry? Stick to well-lit areas. I have a favorite bag. It hitches to my waist, and it actually has a thigh strap. So somebody really have to work to get into that without me knowing. And it has a zipper on the back. So all of my money and my vital ID is pressed up against my thigh and very difficult to get to. Oh, stick to well-lit areas. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it may not be, but trust that instinct and behave as if it is. Dip into small tour groups or day events for social time on your own terms. Know your limits with alcohol. If you aren't in control of your mind and body, you're exposed to risk. And have a route home before you order the appetizer. When you land back at your hotel or car, that's when you send the message to whomever has your itinerary, letting them know that you're back safe. You don't need to broadcast you're lost or alone if something starts to go wrong. If you need to help, hit pause, take a deep breath, and look for an information desk or a visible authority figure, police, security, to go to for assistance. Even when I am in the States, if I am walking to my car alone, I call my husband or a friend. That allows anyone around me to know that somebody knows where I am. It makes me less of a target. Oh, and your posture matters. Shoulders back, chin neutral, eyes scanning with purpose. Be aware of what's around you. If you are holding a purse, tuck it where it would not be easy for someone else to grab it, but don't clutch it in fear. Walk like you know exactly where you're going. Again, that's why I like that white waist bag, because both hands are free. I look like I'm in charge. You can stop and check the map at a corner, but do it under a street light where you will have better visibility and feel more confident. Predators look for hesitation. Confidence is its own street light. Now, if you're at events, arrive a little early. It helps you avoid the chaos and get the lay of the land. Clock the exits. That's not as easy to say as it sounds. Clock the exits. Figure out where the exits are, where are the restrooms, where are all the facilities, where's the security officer? Know what's around you. Spot the rideshare pickup zones, and if you're driving, park where it's bright. Stay aware, not anxious, simply aware. Now, if you want deeper dives, blogs like Girl Traveler and Solo Traveler World have robust, thoughtful safety lists from seasoned travelers. Oh, and speaking of concerts, a couple of years ago, Boy George and Culture Club played a venue less than 30 miles from my house. My husband, 11 years my senior, offered to go, but it's not his music. And I knew that would dim the fun for both of us. I couldn't find a friend who wanted to go, so I bought a single ticket and I went. I danced, I sang, I made friends with the gay chorus around me. It was a blast. No one told me I was too much. No one announced they were hungry, thirsty, or bored. I just enjoyed every second, from the opening acts, Berlin and Howard Jones, oh my goodness, to the last encore. For a minute, I was 19 again, and it was heaven. Oh my God, that was 40 years ago. Okay, sorry. That night reminded me that joy is proof of life. We talk about safety, and we should, but we also need to talk about aliveness. Singing until your cheeks hurt, dancing until you forget your to-do list. That is medicine for the soul. Solo doesn't mean smaller. Sometimes it means you can turn the dial all the way up without apologizing. Now, if you're new to this, if this concept doesn't sound like something you would embrace, but you're intrigued, try a ladder, one step at a time. Level 1, coffee alone for 20 minutes. You can do that. Don't even look at your phone. Just be present with yourself. Level 2, go to a matinee movie. Daytime, and oh yeah, popcorn included for certain. Level 3, museum or gallery night. And here's the test. Ask a docent one question. Just step out of your comfort zone. Get comfortable with talking to somebody you don't know. Level 4, a local concert. Arrive early, pick your spot. Pick the musical genre that works for you and the size venue that works for you. If you want to see Bruce Springsteen in a huge arena, figure out those logistics and figure out how to pay for the ticket. And if you want to see a local jazz band in a little intimate space, ask around for the best place to do that. Both work. Or you could just go to a concert in the park on Sunday afternoon. You don't have to jump to level 5, but that is a one-night solo staycation. I love a night alone in a hotel. It's so glorious. Just expand into my own space, take a long hot bath, watch TV in bed if I want to, play on my phone first thing in the morning while I'm waking up slowly. The only thing missing is someone bringing me coffee, but then I'd have to get up to let them, no, not going to happen. Anyway, sorry. And once you've done all that, you can consider whether you want to go even higher, further, or longer. Now, you don't have to figure this out alone. Ironically, when you are doing your research, look for Solo Traveling with Tracy Ellis Ross on Roku, or the Solo Travel Woman podcast with Sarah Straw. And yes, find your people, online groups, local meetups, travel tribes. But here's the key. Community doesn't erase your autonomy. It supports you. You can belong without shrinking. So, taking it back to Paul McCartney and the Beatles. They weren't just a soundtrack for a generation. They were a permission slip. Permission to have big feelings, permission to change your mind, permission to reinvent. During that concert, McCartney gave his band a break. Yeah, this man is 83 years old, and he was on stage for 2+ hours. And he did solo songs to give his band a break. Go figure. Anyway, one of those songs was Blackbird. Just him, a guitar in the spotlight. As he sang, "Take these broken wings and learn to fly," I felt it in my bones. Maybe that's what going solo really is. Choosing to fly with whatever wings you've got today. Not waiting for perfect conditions. Not waiting for someone to say, "Okay, now." Just getting up and going. Let me ask you, bucket listers, what stories have you told yourself about needing someone to validate your presence? What might it feel like to show up, just you, and still be complete? How do you build that muscle strength of discomfort? And what small solo adventure could you say yes to this month, this week? A dinner, a concert, an art walk, a day trip? That's your challenge this week. Do one thing solo and enjoy it. A matinee, a hike, maybe even a concert. How about an art show opening or a museum exhibit opening? Those things are designed for mingling in well-lit areas. Frankly, whatever piques your curiosity, follow that. Look at Eventbrite and say yes to something that interests you. They have all sorts of things going on in your community. And if anyone asks, "Who'd you go with?" you could smile and say it with me. My 3 favorite people. Me, myself, and I. Close your eyes for 10 seconds and picture it. The outfit you'd wear, the seat you'd choose, the snack you'd order, the song you'd sway to, the photo you'd take on the way out. See it, feel it. That's your compass. Because the bucket list life isn't about far off places. It's about how you choose to live today. You don't need permission. You don't need +1. You just need your 3 favorite people. Me, myself, and I. Talk to you next week. Until then, stay hydrated.
Like what you heard here today? Then we should be friends. I suggest you join my Facebook group. It's a good way to connect. We can have a conversation, ask me questions, whatever you want to do. It is called the Wonderful Bucket List Life. That's Wonder-Full Bucket List Life. Be a bucket lister and join me on this adventure. Or you can go to my webpage, which is Wonder Wendy and Friends, join the mailing list, learn about the book I wrote, adventures that are coming up in the future, and other podcasts. I look forward to talking to you soon, and stay hydrated. Have a great day.